Hello everyone, welcome to URBONUS podcast. I'm the host Donatas URBONUS. I'm joined by Rytis Vyšniauskas and we're in kind of unusual environment. We're live from Cologne, one of the host cities of the EuroBasket 2022. And I don't know how about you, Rytis, but it's just amazing experience so far to be here and to be surrounded by so many basketball people, first and foremost, from a lot of different levels, starting from the top NBA organizations to some other basketball people, and of course huge fan support, like differently from Georgia. This is huge fan base here in Cologne, of course thanks to Lithuanian supporters. 4,000-5,000 people from Lithuania are here, but German basketball fans, they packed the arena yesterday for Dirk Nowitzki jersey retirement ceremony. So far it's been just amazing.
It's been a great experience, been a great atmosphere, not only in the arena but in the city as well. I also had a pleasure to visit a random German Cup game with Bayern Munich and Victoria Köln. So for the first time in my life, I've experienced the German football culture, the way they support their teams. So that was the beginning of my sort of sporting experience in the city. And then, yesterday was the first day of the EuroBasket. I think we had three great games. I wouldn't want to underrate the Bosnia and Herzegovina game with Hungary. It was also decent, and there were a lot of people in the gym already. So the first days are really good. I'm excited. The only complaint from my perspective is that we don't get enough food here. just once per day. I mean, we should be treated.
Yeah, because we spend here like 12 hours per day, so we should be treated way better than this.
We need lunch and dinner, and we only get dinner. I mean, the food.
I didn't even make the dinner time yesterday because I was busy after Slovenia-Lithuania game, and I just didn't make it on time, and I kind of...
It's your loss because the food was great, and I had some time in between games because after Lithuania...
Oh yeah, you don't do any post-game stuff.
But I have to comment the next game, which was France-Germany, so I grabbed a bite, and it was good. So the quality is good. It's just the timing is not okay. We need a proper lunch because the breakfast is in the hotel for many journalists. And then what? For 12 hours, you're going to eat Subway? That's not good for your health.
I love you, Rytis, because you always bring these hardwood classic jerseys with yourself. And what was the idea behind Karl Malone jersey? Are you going to try to disturb Rudy Gobert before Lithuania-France game or what?
No idea behind this, actually. It just I went to the NBA store in Barcelona and I wanted to get some classic shirts. I got Dražen Petrovic,
nice.
New Jersey Nets, and
you had it in the last show.
In the last podcast, and I got this Utah Jazz shirt with Karl Malone because I love this Jazz logo. I love the way it looks. I love the colors. And no other secret stuff behind this purchase. It's not like I'm trying to play some mind games on Rudy or any other guy. Yeah.
I just met Chauncey Billups, who is here to support Yusuf Nurkic and Bosnia national team. It just, as I mentioned, it's so crazy that there are so many basketball people here and people from the NBA. I remember, for example, Chauncey Billups, I was waking up in the morning to watch these NBA finals between Pistons and Lakers. I was a big hater of Lakers, so I kind of cheered for the Pistons. And Chauncey was, big piece of that great Detroit Pistons team. Yesterday, I just hit randomly Mark Cuban, who was here with Jason Kidd, Michael Finley, to support Dirk Nowitzki. He was super nice, giving the short interview, and it appeared out he has grandmother from city of Derbeni, which has the population of total like 1,000 people,
and
maybe.
It's the birthplace of our coach.
And now Kazis Maksvytis is not the most famous, let's say, guy coming from that small town. And it was even a surprise for Kazis Maksvytis. So I mean, it was just great. And but even more random thing happened yesterday when we, with our colleagues, went to the bar after game, as it should be. And I met a guy from Luxembourg who approached me and said that, hey guys, you're doing a good podcast. So
nice.
This is
Luxembourg.
Luxembourg.
Wow.
This is probably, so far, it's been the most random country that follows our podcast.
That's
So
very nice.
shout out to this guy.
That's
I mean,
very
he
nice.
looks actually like Yusuf Nurkic. We kind of labeled him as a Yusuf Nurkic because he was big.
Yeah, we saw Boris Diaw just chilling in a random bar.
Okay,
Absolutely.
But he's here with the French national team.
I know, but you would expect
Yeah.
like Boris Diaw to be in some fancy restaurants, but it was just a local pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice to see all the basketball people here. And like I said, the experience so far has been great.
Yeah. By the way, before we start, our main topics, which will be based on Slovenia and their kind of favorite status in this competition, and also new team to watch in EuroBasket. There is a short thing I have to tell you about our partners. If you remember Courtside 1891, the platform to watch FIBA games. So we have a great offer for you guys. We have a promo code BASKET25, which will allow you to receive 20% off a max annual pass or a max EuroBasket event pass. So the code will expire on September 30th. So just hurry up. Basket 25 and you will get 25% off. Great deal, I think. Yeah. And yeah, by the way, to start the conversation about Slovenia, I mean, it seems like at least in Lithuania, the base of haters of Luka Doncic is just growing because first of all, he's just continued to kill us in every game, but also of his, sometimes he's flopping, sometimes he's spending too much time on the floor, and he's just, it seems like that he fuels up, having this hostile environment in front of him, and of course it irritates fans. But I kind of still ride this Luka Doncic bandwagon, but at the same time I just thought about the people who rode him to the arena yesterday for the game. I mean, the famous taxi ride. And I was curious, if you were a taxi driver and on a random day you got a call to go to the hotel to bring some people to the arena, and you have Luka Doncic, Goran Dragic, and I don't know, Mike Tobey or whatever in the same car, what you would be talking about? Would you use that opportunity for some conversation or interaction you would like to keep for yourself?
No, I wouldn't, because they're going to a game and I wouldn't want to disturb them.
Come on now, but you're just a taxi driver. You're not even a journalist.
Well, I'm trying.
Who cares?
I'm trying to think that I'm still myself.
You would be still professional, yeah.
So I still have to respect other people and their boundaries. And obviously, before the game, they don't want to be disturbed by some rando.
They're already disturbed because the team bus is late.
They're disturbed by FIBA because they don't have the team bus arriving. And it's a funny experience now since they won the game, and probably they're laughing about it. We saw all those Instagram stories from Goran Dragic, Mike Tobey, and others. But if they had lost the game, I think this would have been escalated much more. Oh, yeah. Maybe even in the press conference after the game. But anyway, it's hard to understand how could the organizers miss the bus for the European champions to the game.
I never heard anything like that. I mean, we had stories in Venezuela, but
there, I mean, something was fishy there all the time because it seemed like they were trying to disturb the other teams. But in this case, you're not expecting something like this to happen,
and especially in Germany,
in the EuroBasket. I can only imagine the whole situation, like the Slovenian players and the staff are already waiting outside and
nobody's showing up.
No one's showing up. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, where are they? And then I think the first tweet was from the Slovenian Basketball Federation.
Yeah, and then it was followed by the Goran Dragic.
And then everybody saw it and they realized the funny side of things. Let's say they got there on time, they played the game, they won the game, but this shouldn't happen. It's not acceptable, really.
Another funny side was that Mike Tobey laughed that I asked him, probably the taxi driver was impressed, with the passengers he had today. And he said that he didn't even get any idea, that they were basketball players or European champions, and probably they didn't even recognize Luka Doncic, for example.
Well, it's not a basketball country. There is a basketball bubble, but in general, when we arrived at our hotel, which is the official FIBA media hotel, the reception had no clue that there is some sort of EuroBasket happening here in the city. So yeah, it's not a basketball country, not a basketball city. But anyway, um, probably it's time for us to talk more about basketball than taxis, food, and some other
the
stuff.
reason I'm still riding this Luka Doncic bandwagon, especially here in FIBA competitions, is that, I mean, you cannot. It's hard. I mean, he continues to surprise you every time because, for example, the game against Lithuania, it was by far, no chance, one of the better games of Luka Doncic. In the fourth quarter, he didn't even score a field goal. But the way he played, the way he slowed down the game at his pace and used his basketball vision and used all these miscommunications in Lithuanian defense, played this pick and roll with Mike Tobey without scoring a basket. He controlled the game and he kind of, killed Lithuanians with this pick and roll game with Mike Tobey. I mean, it was just amazing and just another pure example how the guy like Luka Doncic can impact his team and the whole game in general, not even being scoreless in the fourth quarter. It's just incredible, really.
Yeah, it was one of those days when his step back shots were not really working. Even though the very first sequence in the game was Lithuania switching on a pick and roll, Valančiūnas is against Doncic, and Doncic hits the first 3-pointer, and then probably everyone's thinking we're in for a long night. But no, the shots were not going in. But he still found ways to be the best player on the court, to lead his team. And as you said, he was just feeding Mike Tobey. I mean, he's making Mike Tobey a superstar.
Yeah.
Mike Tobey's a decent EuroLeague center. But in Slovenia, he's a superstar. Luka Doncic is making him a superstar up to the level that the Dallas Mavericks are considering him.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if after this EuroBasket, we will hear all these rumors again that Dallas or any other NBA team is interested in Mike Tobey and bringing him to the NBA.
I think only Dallas because of the connection.
But there's a bunch of Dallas people over here as well.
And about Luka being himself, like sometimes flopping, sometimes you see those sarcastic smiles. I like that.
Yeah, me too.
He's into it. Yeah. He's passionate about the game. He loves being there. He loves the booze and everything. He loves being in a full arena. I think he would hate to play in Tbilisi with an empty gym. And now he sees all the Lithuanian people in the crowd. And when the Slovenian team is being presented, he is just laughing because there's a lot of noise. And people obviously have some hate towards him after the last year's Olympic qualifying tournament. And he just always delivers on the basketball court. He finished with 14 points. I think this is one of the lowest scoring performances from him. 4 of
14 shooting.
Yeah, but in the end, he's still the MVP of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there were other great performances. Goran Dragic really showed once again how important it is that he came back to this team for this one last tournament because he was just hitting some daggers. That sequence when Marius Grigonis was wide open, we were down by 1. If he hits the shot, we're up by 2. Could have been a different ball game, but he missed it. And then on the other side of the court, Goran Dragic just hits a dagger, and we're down by 4. And then the Slovenians sort of took charge of the game and never let it go again. I think, first of all, I mean, we're probably focusing more on Slovenia because we had our thoughts about our Lithuanian podcasts, but it was a quality game overall.
Yeah,
I think
especially for the EuroBasket opener,
Lithuania maybe even surprised some people. We stayed in the game the whole time. We were up by 5 in the fourth quarter. We found some X factors like Kuzminskas and Lekavičius.
And they did an amazing job. I mean, trying to contain Luka. They were different compared to the last year's Olympics. They
completely
played
different.
Drop defense. They switched on him. They attacked him in the offense through Ignas Brazdeikis, for example. They were aggressive. They elbowed him twice. Jonas Valančiūnas wanted to, make him blinded or something. I mean, a lot was going on there. But
that's the problem. Our post-up game wasn't working against Sabonis against Luka. I think 2 or 3 times Luka just, pushed the ball from Sabonis' hands from behind, and then the last play that actually killed the game was the unsportsmanlike foul, and you cannot complain about the call because it was an elbow to the face. It's an easy call for the referee, even though it took like 3 or 4 minutes for them to decide when they were watching the replays. Anyway, it was not like the most dominant performance by Slovenia, but this is what good teams do. They've always find a way to win the game. And something wasn't clicking. Maybe some shots were not going in, especially for Prepelic, who is a good shooter, but he missed some wide open spot up shots. But still, they managed to win the game. This is the most important thing. And again, hats off to Luka, hats off to Goran Dragic, and just a great game to start the EuroBasket for us. It was only the first game and probably the highlight of the day. And I cannot say the highlight of the first
Day of the competition in general?
Match day, like today the other games are happening. And we're recording this before Croatia against Greece. Yeah. And this might be a spectacular basketball game, but we're going to have our takes about Giannis and Hezonja and all the others in other episodes.
Yeah, that's true. We'll focus on basically on what has happened in the first day here in Cologne, because we had amazing night, including Lithuania and Slovenia game, Germany, France, and also this Dirk's celebration. But anyways, talking about Slovenia, it seems like there's this narrative that people think that Slovenians are not as good as they were before. Marius Grigonis threw this quote yesterday saying that they're not as good as they were in 2017. Would you agree on that?
No.
Does it make any sense? Because, I mean, compared to 2017, and he said that, I asked him, why do you think like that? And he said, Goran Dragic got older. Yes, he got older, but even at his peak, he was not as good as Luka Doncic is now, or he was last year. Other players also, they're coming off bad seasons, and most of them, they're coming off, let's say, average seasons in their European teams, and you can argue that Mike Tobey is not as good as maybe Anthony Randolph was.
I don't agree with that.
I mean, he's a better fit.
He's a better
but individually,
fit.
He's not better. But
that's what you need, a better fit, not necessarily a better player.
That's a bad comparison. I don't know. Maybe even comparing this team to the last year, Goran Dragic is a huge upgrade. And I understand some concerns. Some are saying that, the supporting cast is aging, coming off a hard season. Goran Dragic is 36. He is different than he was before. And Luka Doncic, some say that he wants to keep things under his control even more than before, just like in Dallas. And it doesn't necessarily help the Slovenian team. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe they're just a bit laid back right now after their previous year experience. This is the first
game and they won it.
Yeah.
The first game doesn't decide the outcome of the tournament, and everybody knows that. Slovenia is going to go deep in the tournament. That's a fact. They're the semifinal team, and then anything can happen if they face Serbia or Greece. Yeah. I mean, anything could happen in that one single basketball game. But I don't agree really with the notion that this Slovenian team is not as good as it was in 2017. I mean, in 2017, for example, they didn't have Latko Čančar, who is a very important piece of the puzzle. And Dragic, I don't really get all the talks about his age. Did you see him on the court yesterday? Yes, maybe he lost some speed, but when he's driving to the left, he is still unstoppable. And sometimes Lithuanian defenders got under the screens and he just killed us with the three-pointers. It seemed like every time one of our guys hits a free and we're getting all these good emotions, like Kuzminskas hits a free, immediate answer from Dragic. Immediate. He hit like 4 and 1 jump shot when he stepped on the line, something like that.
Could be, yeah.
So it's impossible to say that Goran Dragic is not as good, so the team is declining. No.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Not at all.
He's not as good as he was in 2017, but I mean, comparing the whole picture
of the tournament
of the team,
with an average of like 17 or 18 points. It's just in 2017, he was the MVP and Luka was a teenage superstar. Now Luka is a legit top 3 player in the world, and Goran Dragic is still one of the best guards in this tournament. So I'm sorry to everyone saying that Slovenia is not as good. I don't think you're right. I think it's just one game, and the most important thing, they won the game. The fact is, they're not good on defense. They never were. They never will be with this roster. They're vulnerable. Other teams will find ways to attack them. But again, 92-85 is the scoreline. We are very happy about our offense. We're very happy about Kuzminskas, Lekavicius, Grigonis, and all the others putting up points, shooting in transition, and everything was fine with that. Other teams will also score against Slovenia, but they do what they do. They have Luka on the court. They win games. They don't care about 90 points that they concede. They're going to score more buckets. That's it. It's very simple.
Although I think that the game against Germany I rewatched that game after our last episode, and actually found some interesting material there. I just think that it was a great wake-up call for the supporting cast of Luka Doncic, because Luka was playing pretty much his way, but the way other players were, for me, they seemed to be lazy, looking down on details, not focused on discipline. I mean, that was the face of the team, which you cannot let to see on the court. You can't afford playing like that because they're not as good. I mean, excluding Luka, they're not as good as they might think in some situations, and they always have to play 100% if they want to repeat the last year's run or the 2017 run. So I think it was a good wake-up call for them, and they saw the path, the way they might lose games, and there are plenty of good teams here in EuroBasket to punish them. So there's no room for them, to relax, and especially to lose this, let's say, first place in this group, because if you finish second or third, you might be in trouble in quarterfinals. So okay, even in quarterfinals playing against Serbia or Greece, they might be in a good position to win it, but still, the way to the finals would be way more complicated when it could be. So do you see them losing any other games in this group? Watching Germany and France, of course, again, the first game of the group stage, but still having a better understanding how teams look.
One loss at most, but I'm predicting they're going to sweep the group. Obviously, France and Germany, those are difficult obstacles. Not easy games for sure. Germany is on the hype right now. France, I don't think they can be any worse than they were yesterday. We're going to get to that probably. But not really. I do see Slovenia winning the group. Even if they lose one game, I think they should be in the first place anyways.
Yeah, unless Germany will sweep everybody.
I realized my silly mistake. To knock the ball out of somebody's hands.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I said push the ball.
Yeah.
I'm talking so much during this EuroBasket and I'm even forgetting Lithuanian words.
Yeah.
Not only English. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to business.
Germany is a fun team to watch.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was amazed. I didn't have any energy after Slovenia-Lithuania game, but
You were tired.
I was tired really because so much was happening around, especially the post-game stuff. It just exhausts you. But I was like watching this German team, and I saw Olympic finalists which didn't have any chance to beat Germany in that game. I mean, Germany was so aggressive. They were always under the skin of French team. I like the versatility of their defense with Thijs as a main center, for example. They don't have these tall guys on the front, but all these, athletic guys, physical guys, and they're looking for these steals. They're playing very aggressive defense, which led to a lot of fast break points, for example. And offensively, I mean, Maudolo is like cooking. He looks like the NBA player at the moment.
In
He's
the second half,
crease in the face.
Let's remember that in the first half he only played 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then they also have this Dennis Schroeder, which is doing some nice celebrations and stuff. And
actually, about Dennis, I need clarification from German
Schroeder.
people. Do you really say Schroeder?
Probably not.
They shouldn't. He's Schroeder.
Schroeder. Okay, we won't be as accurate as that probably, but
I mean,
he's Schroeder.
Because I had a discussion with one of my mates yesterday. He sent me the link where Dennis says to the Atlanta Hawks media that his last name is Schroeder. But I know that's why Jakob Poeltl says to the NBA people, "Oh, I'm Poeltl," because it's there's no way the Americans would pronounce the umlaut, but we should try to keep it real. Anyway, Dennis Schroeder actually didn't have a particularly good game on offense. Because we know him. He is not a very consistent player. He's not a very consistent shooter. And when he misses his first couple of shots, teams start to go under the screens. They just don't want to let him in the paint, don't want to let him drive, and just force him to take jump shots. And he was not hitting any of those jump shots. But the good thing was, Dennis Schroeder sometimes seems like a player that might destroy the whole team chemistry. None of that happened yesterday. Even though the shots were not falling, he was very positive on the court and even on the bench. When he was sitting on the bench, he was cheering for Maudolo and waving the towel. So that's a good thing. It seems like this year, when Schroeder is the captain of the team, he brings more positive energy, more positivity than in some other tournaments, particularly 2019, the World Cup, when I think he was just playing hero ball. So, and the other good thing about Germany is they have 5 guys on the floor that can shoot the free. And it's very hard for France playing with those 2 bigs to defend the perimeter when Thijs is shooting, when Voigtman is shooting.
It depends on who's on the backcourt. I mean, if there's Nick Weiler-Babb and Schroeder,
But they're still capable of hitting a 3-pointer. And I'm focusing on the bigs, actually. The bigs are shooting. Voigtman is shooting. Thijs is shooting. Tiemann is shooting. Vobo got in a foul trouble yesterday. He didn't have an impact on the game. But anyways, everyone's shooting the ball in this team. And when you're playing with 2 bigs, we're going to play 2 bigs against them also, JV and Sabonis. It's hard to defend the perimeter.
They're so uncomfortable.
It's very difficult. And what I loved the most about Germany, and particularly Johannes Tiemann, he was not scared of Rudy Gobert. He didn't care about his Defensive Player of the Year trophies. He attacked him. The very first action, Tiemann got an and 1 against Rudy Gobert. Everyone was attacking Rudy Gobert. Gobert, you cannot even say he was good on defense. He was actually exposed.
He was
exposed.
Miserable, I would say, miserable in both ends of the floor.
Yabusele was the only positive thing about France yesterday. He was fighting. He was fighting for every ball. He was aggressive. He was trying to score. Evan Fournier was not himself. Weiler-Babb did a good job on defense, obviously, and the other guys as well. But it was so painful to watch France. The spacing was terrible.
With them.
Spacing was terrible. Those long possessions, missing
bad
a lot
shot
of shots.
selection. And I mean, energy-wise, they couldn't match Germany at all. They didn't have any chance. So that's also comes to the thing that people don't really realize how important Nando De Colo and Nicolas Batum was for this team. And of course, basketball-wise, what they add on the floor with this leadership, with their skill, with defense, and Nicolas Batum being a glue guy of that team. But also off the court, from what I understood, I mean, France is still trying to figure out who are their leaders. And you kind of could notice that on the court, that they're just, miserable, as I said. So
I don't think they're going to be that miserable
it's
in other games.
The syndrome of the first game of the competition. But
they should be fine, in my opinion, moving forward. But there are a lot of question marks. First of all, about the young guys. Like Eli Okobo is supposed to be the new Nando De Colo in this team, but he just burned out in the first game, like Rokas Jokubaitis did for Lithuania, something like that. And Theo Maledon, other teams will do what the Germans did. They're not going to guard him on the 3-point line. Just shoot as much as you want. You're not a shooter. And yesterday he was trying, but it didn't work. So those younger players in this team, they're probably still not ready. They are some years away of replacing the veterans like Batum and De Colo. And this team is just very dependent on Fournier and Ertel as the 2 ball handlers. And they have to do much better than yesterday in order to win some games.
Yeah, and a couple of things to say about Germany as well. By the way, Mo Wagner is here around the team, and I just talked with Dennis Schroeder as well, and he said that he kind of plays an important role, being just together with the guys, pushing them, and being that vocal guy around the team. But the thing about German national team, what you said about, just being a uncomfortable fit for other opponents, having these bigs, some great leaders. We cannot forget Franz Wagner, who also had some very nice plays. I had a conversation with a former national team player of one strong national team the other day, and he said that these EuroBasket or World Cup competitions, they're just so unique because if you have a best available roster, it doesn't necessarily translate into a best position to win some medals, for example, because it basically takes 2 things: having and building great chemistry quickly, and having good pieces, good momentum on the floor at the time the competition starts and finishes. And watching this German team, I think that so far they have everything, because even this victory against Slovenia, you could kind of think that it was some kind of coincidence and it was more about Slovenia being not themselves. But then watching them, just destroying France, exposing them in many different ways, I just fall in love with them. And what I like about their defense is that their numbers are amazing. I mean, France and Slovenia, they were top 4 teams in the Olympic Games offensively by scoring. Slovenia scored 100 points per game last year in Tokyo, France 85. They kept France around 63 points and then Slovenia 71. It's just remarkable. So
I didn't understand some of the rotations Vincent Collet did in this game. It seemed like a friendly game where you're trying to play with some different lineups. You go small, you go big, you try with 3 guards.
They tried Poirier.
They tried everything. They didn't try Mustafa Fall. Maybe he was not ready to play. I don't know.
No, he was not.
He had an injury, right?
He was just confirmed before the competition.
When the coach is trying to search for the best lineup during the game, it looks like he's not ready for the tournament. And it was strange to see that, because Vincent Collet is a very experienced coach. He's been with this French team for how long? 10 years?
As long as we remember.
More than 10 years, probably 14 years.
He was already in the team in 2011, so...
Oh, yeah. So it's been a while. So that's it about France. I think they're going to be better. And the bad thing is we're facing them next. And I don't think Fournier is going to be as bad in 2 games in a row, and some other guys as well. They will be angry about their performances from yesterday. But about Germany, I still want to mention 2 names. First of all, Niels Giffey. He's just proving that he's not a bad player. But last season, when he was playing in Kaunas, it was the wrong place at the wrong time.
It was just a bad fit, yeah.
And here, he knows his role. He plays his role. Like the NBA coaches say, just be a superstar in your role. We're not asking everybody on the court to be heroes, but be a superstar in your role. And he played his role perfectly yesterday. And the other guy is Franz Wagner. Nothing too spectacular from him yesterday, but watching him in the Orlando Magic in his rookie season and watching him yesterday, I realized one thing. Franz Wagner maybe doesn't have one elite superstar skill, but every single basketball thing he does is on a very good level, like off the ball movement, playing one-on-one with the ball in his hands, defending one-on-one, rotating on defense. Every single aspect of the game is good. Nothing elite, but good, which makes him a player that doesn't really have any weak spots.
And he's so smart.
I think he's going to have some spectacular performances in the tournament. Maybe one game where he leads Germany to victory. But for a coach to have a player like this, what a treasure, really. He does so much for the team.
To wrap up this group stage in Cologne, what's your most favorite Dirk Nowitzki moment?
It's 2011 NBA Finals, and Dwayne Wade and LeBron James are sort of mocking Dirk Nowitzki with this fake cough. And then Dirk just goes on the court and kicks their asses. Game winners, clutch shots, everything he did in that series just made him legendary. He was legendary already in European eyes, but some American fans and experts maybe had doubts about him being soft. He didn't win a ring. In 2006, he lost, even though they were leading 2-0 against the Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade. And in 2011, he just kicked their asses. The big three, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, he couldn't care. And the way he reacted to that, it was just amazing.
Dirk is just awesome. He spent like 15 or 20 minutes just signing signatures after his ceremony and just going to the mix zone. And I mean, I love the most, not just about his game, but just about his personality, especially connecting it to nowadays, that whenever he failed with Dallas, he had some failures with Dallas before becoming NBA champion. I mean, maybe he was lacking of better players around him. He never requested a trade. I mean, he never requested.
He was underpaid. You could say he was underpaid.
He reduced his salary in order, to bring some better players around him, and he were never had any arguments with the owners. He was amazing player for the organization, and especially nowadays, man, these guys are switching teams so fastly, despite signing 4-year contracts. I'm talking about
when do you remember his MVP season? He won the MVP. And what happened then? They lost to the Golden State Warriors, the famous eighth
first
seed
rounds.
against the first seed. And a lot of criticism then. Where's your MVP? It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
Why is he not delivering? But he always answered, always silenced all the critics and doubters.
He just called his personal
Yeah.
coach Holgren and just worked his ass off in
Yeah.
the gym.
One of my favorite players ever. And if you talk about FIBA competitions, the most memorable moment is obviously the game winner over Jorge Garbajosa in the semifinal.
Yes,
What a
yes.
shot. What a shot, really, in 2005. So Dirk is a true legend of the game, a role model, an example to many, and he did so much for the German basketball in general. Like when he was playing almost 20 years ago, he didn't have a lot of help. No NBA or EuroLeague players really. But
He
right
was
now,
almost like Luka Doncic, in his German team.
Yeah.
The way he managed to connect everybody around and to push them forward to make them
Doncic
better.
right now has a lot of help in comparison.
I agree.
And Dirk was doing this with Pascal Roller and Patrick
And
Femerling. No
Mokola,
disrespect. No disrespect. And right now we see a German team full of NBA and EuroLeague players. And if not for Dirk, who knows if so many young guys would pick up a basketball. So just massive respect to the man. Yeah.
The biggest story outside this group from Tbilisi was the empty seats in the gym. But at the same time, I love the quotes of Ataman. He compared it to a U18 tournament. And Scariolo made an amazing quote saying that Lorenzo Brown relative, probably there were more Lorenzo Brown relatives watching the game online than fans in the gym. But at the same time, are you really surprised by the crowd in Tbilisi? I mean, even in Lithuania, we kind of call ourselves basketball country and blah, blah, blah. It's our second religion. We had Tony Parker, Dirk Nowitzki. I don't remember which particular cities, maybe Šiauliai and Alytus. There were like also 1,000 people coming to watch them. So I'm not really surprised about that. And it's kind of, casual thing of EuroBasket competitions that in one or two cities, there are just no fans because these national teams who are playing there, they don't have these fan bases who follow their national teams. Like Finnish, they're gonna have like 5,000 people to support Finland national team, or Lithuanians the same, 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe Georgia is a little bit unlucky that in their group they have Spain, and Spain is not known for traveling supporters. They have Turkey. Okay, Turkey has fans, and I think they're gonna be in Berlin when they play the knockout tournaments. They will qualify probably. And teams like Montenegro, also not known, Bulgaria, they just go, and the local people just go there to support their team.
Yeah.
Like you have the day ticket, and if I had a day ticket, I would probably go to see all 3 games on the match day. But
as well, you also
like
have
a
a job.
So a casual
there
fan,
are some working hours as
casual
well.
fan just goes to the most important game, which is in the evening, the best time slot. The home team is playing, and he's supporting his team. So I'm not surprised, really. I'm not. I don't know how to deal with this. Of course, for the players, it's boring.
Yeah, disappointing.
First of all,
Disrespectful
when we were here in the media room, I was watching the opening game of the EuroBasket, Spain, Bulgaria.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, like, are there COVID restrictions in Georgia, in Tbilisi? Because there are no people. But
there were many strange things. I didn't expect that Spain can be such a high-scoring team.
I mean, come on. I saw the game. Bulgaria wasn't playing any defense at all. It was very easy for Lorenzo Brown and Villar Gomez. And the way Bulgarians were defending, it seemed like Rudy Fernandez is once again 25 years old, although he's 37. So, what was the scoreline?
114-87.
Yeah.
114. Wow.
Crazy numbers. And Turkey had problems, actually. They had problems. But they got the win, which is the most important thing. But still, again, even after this game against Montenegro, we're still probably doubting, is Turkey really that good?
Yeah,
are they going to go
kind of
to the semifinal as we predicted?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm not so confident.
Who knows? We'll see what happens. But at least we finally saw Shane Larkin shooting the basketball. because again, in the first quarter, it was painful to see him just standing there in the corner and seeing other players playing pick and rolls with Şengün or Shanli. And finally, he hit like 3 3-pointers in a row, maybe got some rhythm. That's the Shane Larkin they need. That's the Shane Larkin he's supposed to be, and hopefully he will be moving forward in the tournament.
Yeah, and the another surprising thing was, at least for me, that Belgium won against Georgia. I mean, I just thought that they're gonna beat Georgia. Even without Tolko Şengeli, they have enough talent to beat other teams in their group to qualify. So it was interesting. But yeah, in general, exciting start of the EuroBasket with a lot of drama. Both
So far, so good. So far, so good, and there are
many more things.
to happen. I'm really excited to go and watch Croatia against Greece actually right now, because it's like after half an hour.
This is just the routine of the EuroBasket. Yeah. Basketball never stops, as well as our job. So Rytis Vyšniauskas, Donatas Urbonas, that was it. Follow us on BasketNews.com, BasketNews YouTube channel, and just in general. I mean, believe me, trust me, our Twitter channel, Instagram channel. If you want to keep up to date with the EuroBasket and feel the real pulse of the competition, just follow these accounts, because we really provide the best content. So thank you all, and see you next time.
Thanks. See you next time.
Hey everyone.
Hey fans, Pau Gasol here.
Courtside 1891 is your home to stream EuroBasket 2022. Visit Courtside 1891 today.
Don't miss the action, live or on demand.